I was 27 the first time I dropped LSD. It was the night before my 28th birthday. I only took a corner because I was a wuss. And the only thing that happened was I saw a family of paper people walk over a small hill. I took half of the remaining piece of bladder the next day. I shared the other half with a conscious brother that I had met on the way to the library. It was uneventful. I didn't find what I was looking for, which was a spiritual experience. The next time I dropped was 2 weeks later, on December 23rd, 1998, around 11 p.m. It was right after I got off work. My on-again, off-again boyfriend, Jay, was supposed to drop with me, but he got home about a half hour after I had dropped, telling me that he had to work on Christmas Eve. He was not happy that I had dropped without him, and because he had to babysit me. Just after midnight, I was laying in bed on my stomach, listening to The End by The Doors. The music was intense, and I was really feeling it. All of a sudden, I felt this very strong electric pulling sensation in my head. It felt as if something was struggling to get out. It felt like there was a magnet in my head and an even bigger one outside of my head. The top of my head felt like it was going to come off. I tried to get up after the pulling, but something, an unseen force, I don't know, but it kept pushing me back down, head first, into the mattress. I was crawling in place because of my struggle with this force. My breathing was loud and hard. After a short while, I resigned myself and let the force do what it had to do. As soon as I stopped fighting, the pulling stopped. It started up again, but thankfully, this time it was short-lived. I noticed that my nose and ears were plugged, as if I had just come up from swimming. I was trying to catch my breath. The air was so thick. After I noticed the thick air, I was able to breathe. I looked up at the bedroom door. The music was still playing. Suddenly, I noticed a blue light on the door. The light framed a stage. The doors were on the stage, on my bedroom door. They were playing the song that I was listening to. Perhaps The End, or whichever song comes after The End on the Greatest Hits CD. I was still laying on my stomach in bed, looking at the concert from my room. But at the same time, I was laying on my back in the balcony of whatever auditorium they were playing in. I was front row balcony, reclined in a chair with my feet up on the railing, watching the concert. I noticed that I was wearing a pair of black men's cowboy boots. As soon as I took my feet down and scooted up in my chair to look into the audience, I realized that I was not the person looking through my eyes. It was Jim Morrison. The audience was screaming and saying, "We love you, Jim." I was there. I just don't know where, since he was in my body. I mean, I didn't see my body while hovering or anything. I just knew that I was also still there in the room and in that balcony with his spirit at the same time. Jim was lost in all of the love he was feeling from the fans. He could not contain how excited and overjoyed he was, and I was happy for him. Jay was laying next to me, also on his stomach, while all of this was happening. I do not remember saying anything at all, but somehow he knew what was happening. I said nothing while Jim was in my body, smiling at the audience and soaking up their love, but Jay knew that Jim was there. Jay whispered to Jim, "Hey man, do you see?" Without ever taking his eyes from the audience, Jim said, "Not right now." Jay persisted, "But do you see?" Again, Jim said, "Not right now, man." Once more, Jay tried. He said, "Come on, man, tell me, do you see?" Jim abruptly cut Jay off with a quick wave of his hand and a look on his face while still looking into the audience. But he had this look on his face that said, "Leave me alone right now." And he said, "Later." Jay was a little butthurt that Jim would not talk to him. He abruptly and loudly yelled my name. I felt like myself again, but I was mad that he had pulled me and Jim from that concert hall's balcony, because I was feeling what Jim was feeling. So I yelled, "What?" He understood that he was now talking to me and not Jim. And he said, "You were acting as if you were possessed by the ghost of Jim Morrison." I said, "Wow." I rolled my eyes and threw a bunch of expletives at Jay. But I quickly came to grips with the fact that the journey was over. And I told Jay what happened. After that, I told Jay to go to sleep, since he would be getting up for work soon. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to go straight to sleep with all that just happened. And I was buzzing with energy. So I sat up on the side of the bed, and for some reason, I looked at my plaid pajamas. I looked at the palms, then the backs of my hands, and again, before I knew it, yes, Jim was back. But this time, there was a lavender-colored mist in the air, hugging the cigarette smoke. I felt like if I had tried to move, it would have happened in slow motion. That's how thick the air was. As Jim looked at the palms and the backs of my hands again, he said, "Wow, I am somebody." Now, that kind of threw me. I'm like, what do you mean? You know, what's going on here? But he lit a cigarette and laid on my back. He was in my body, so for some reason he repeated, "Wow, yeah, wow, yeah," over and over and over again. He was again excited, overjoyed, and loud. Jay reminded him that people were trying to sleep. Jim apologized, turned down his volume, but kept saying, "Wow, yeah." Jim said, "We rode in over on the storm. I could only feel his presence and do not know if or who else he was talking about. It was raining that morning, but no storm. But there was one nearby in Ohio." Jim said to Jay, "I'm sorry. I know you're tired and have to go to work, but I have to say these things, baby. You're a good guy and all, but you just don't feel. If you could feel, you would understand. Feel. Understand and feel. Feel, baby." I don't remember much more of what he said, but I do remember that he talked really fast, and every time he would end a sentence, he would do so by saying "baby." Now, I don't talk that fast, and I've never called Jay baby. Jim asked Jay if he had riders on the storm. Jay said, "Yeah, but it's out in the living room. And remember, Sheila is out there." Jim was about to get up to go get the CD, but stopped after I started thinking, "No, Sheila is bi-curious, and she loves you. What would she do if she senses you? No, don't do it." As he sat there, Jim started thinking, "I used to do women when I was a man." He looked at my hands and body and thought, "I'm in a woman's body now." Now this really threw me. So I thought, hold up, what do you mean you're in a woman's body now? Are you stuck here? What is happening? But he did not respond to my thoughts this time. I mean, he heard my thoughts when I told him not to go into the living room to get the CD. He was either ignoring me or he was so caught up in his own thoughts that he did not hear mine. He may have been looking at his Akashic files when I was asking these questions, because after I stopped focusing on my questions, I saw one of his Akashic files. I'm sure I did not see everything that Jim had seen, because he was feeling really bad about something. I saw his last memory before he started crying. I saw Jim in a circular red leather booth in some restaurant. He was sitting in the middle of two women. The file ended, and Jim suddenly began to cry. And he repeated, "Oh God, oh Lord, oh God, oh Lord," over and over, until Jay told him to calm down. Jim sat up to smoke another cigarette. He started talking to Jay again. I don't remember what he said to him this time, because he was also thinking at the same time, and I was listening to his thoughts. I mean, he had already said some things that I'm questioning, so I want to listen to what he has to say. I mean, I could always ask Jay, what did he say to you? Now, his thoughts were that no one understood him, and he was certainly sure that no one would understand his coming back on this plane. Huh? What? Okay. Anyway, he told Jay that he was scared. He apologized again to Jay for keeping him up, but he wanted him to know that he was here to cause no harm and that he himself was truly scared. He told Jay that he was cold and that he was going to the bathroom, turn the heat on, and grab the CD. After Jim left the bathroom, he headed back to the bedroom, forgetting to turn on the heat and get the CD. He was at the door when he realized this. He quickly turned around and screamed after seeing Jay's brother coming out of his room. This scream jerked him from my body, and I felt like myself again. I heard lyrics from When the Music's Over, where it says, "Before I sink into the big sleep, I want to hear the scream of the butterfly." He screamed because after turning around, he was startled by Jay's brother, who wasn't there just a second ago. I apologized, ran to turn the heat on, grabbed the CD, and hurried back to the bedroom. I put on Riders and noticed that my comforter's pattern started shifting from the comforter to slightly above it. It was a black and white checkered comforter. The black and white squares danced into formation to become a mandala. It was beautiful. It started spinning really fast, and so fast that it looked like squiggly lines in the middle of the mandala. I fell asleep shortly after, belting out a few wows myself. The next morning, I awoke and was relieved that I was myself. I had so many questions, though. My main questions were, why me? Why did Jim come through me? And what did he mean when he said, "I'm in a woman's body now"? I'm confused. I mean, I was enthralled, delighted, and spooked at the same time. And this began my research for answers. So, hoping for another visit, I dropped again a few weeks later. But I had no feeling of Jim's presence. All that happened was I kept seeing a small red dot of light. I waited a few weeks and dropped again. I saw a small green dot of light. I was a little upset that nothing was happening, and because I probably would not get any answers, because I probably would not take acid again. I didn't want to, because of what I had read during my initial research, which is it's not wise to take too much because it could negatively affect one's psychological health. I know it would take way more than what I took to have such effects, but I like to err on the side of caution. The day of the Green Dot trip went into evening as nothing special. No answers. Jay and his brother both knew that I was tripping, so I guess they decided to have a little fun with this Jim thing. Me and Jay were in the bedroom when he started teasing and acting like Jim. I told him to stop and leave me alone. He said, "No, I'm not going to stop. Now what are you going to do about it?" "What are you?" I said, "Shut up and get out of my face." Jay's brother came into the room and said, "Did one of y'all just come into the kitchen?" We both replied, no. He said, I was just in the kitchen, and I could have sworn that someone came in there, opened the refrigerator door, and then closed it. We all looked at each other, wide-eyed and scared. Jay said, Jim's here. As soon as he said that, I felt some air behind me, as if someone had just swiftly walked by me. I yelled, stop your antics, Jay. In a serious tone, Jay said, go into the kitchen and run the water. I asked why. He said, just do it. As I hurried toward the kitchen, I said, on my way. The doorbell rang, and for some reason it startled me. I did not make it to the kitchen to turn on the water. I ran back into the bedroom and closed the door. I was able to breathe again after I heard Sheila and the kids. Later that night, I got a visual. It was of a shiny metallic hand meeting up with a shiny metallic pipe, like the ones under the face bowl with the curved neck. I dropped again for the last time about 3 years later. I felt very tall, but I still could not reconnect with Jim. And my questions remain unanswered.